And we are back here once again with another episode of the MSK show. And this is going to be episode 21. We're going to be doing another segment of Content Creator Spotlight presenting X person. And the person that I will be doing this episode of Content Creator Spotlight with is going to be Horror Amorata. This will be her first appearance on this show. We've did a couple others on my other bigger podcast. It was the Iron Man podcast, actually. But just like Marvel Comics, whenever things don't go the way they go, you just gotta just say fuck it and reboot back to an issue number one. I'm now at this point Marvel Comics. At this point now, I have become them. So how you been? It's been a while.
I've been good. How have you been?
Oh, old, Rizmaster, good looking, successful. Every guy wants to be me, and every girl wants to be with me,
No, I don't, but okay.
I don't think you believe me. So
not really.
Wow. And since we last talked, because last time we saw each other was actually in real life. I saw you in Sheep City in real life, and Sheep City in was just black. Actually,
yeah, he's actually black.
Crazy. And you were an actual woman, not one of those like manufactured ones that they're trying to push on us these days.
That's what I look like in person, anyway. Sometimes.
Do you look back on the meetup and you think you had a good time? Because I look back on it, it's like I had a great time, honestly. Can't wait to do it again next year.
I always enjoy going to those meetups. They're so much fun.
Yeah, it's cool to just get out of the house finally and be like, oh my god, there's people. I gotta do peopling now. Holy crap.
But then the peopling's not so bad because the people are actually kind of cool, and you've already had conversations with most of them anyway. It's just now you get to have them face to face, and then there's alcohol, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so since this is your first time on the show, do origin stories, and then we'll get into the good stuff about gaming. And as you guys know, I'll be doing a bit of gaming myself, honestly, coming back. It's the thing that I really enjoy doing. So yeah, I'm setting up for it right now. By December, I should be all fully good to go, but I'll have a version of what I want it to look like up very soon. So
cool.
Starting here, how was your life growing up, actually?
I can't complain too much. I could probably complain a lot, but I understand people get tired of hearing about that too. So,
well, I'm here to listen. So what happened with you? What the fuck's wrong with you?
I was born. I had parents. One was worse than the other. I got older. I got married. I got divorced, and then I got here.
Oh, well, you were actually married before.
I've been married before, yes.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I don't think you told me that the last time.
I don't talk about it a whole lot unless, it comes up for some reason in conversation, but it's like, it was a not the best time in my life. So
you remember when you were younger?
Yeah, when I was in my early 20s to 30.
Okay. So looking back on it now, because I'm imagine you think about it every once in a while. You're like walking around or you're doing something, you just randomly have those thoughts in your head. Do you think like you regret doing it, or you regret like, man, this was just a wasted experience that I learned nothing from?
It was a colossal waste of time. It was not a good experience for myself. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a good experience for him. The whole thing overall should have probably been avoided, but we all make stupid mistakes, and then we try to stick to those mistakes, and then we realize, sticking to this mistake is probably a bad idea, and then you get to pay a lawyer a lot of money to make it go away.
Yeah, crazy. And you know what? Divorce is very expensive, actually. A friend of mine that I used to work with went through one, and it's like, wow. That's why
it's so expensive, right?
Yeah.
It's because it's worth it.
Oh, true. I don't disagree with that. It's one of those things where I tell people, if you're going to get married, that better be something you really want, because the money you're going to have to pay to split is just, that money better be worth it, honestly. Not just all the paperwork. Apparently, you have to fill out paperwork to the point where your spouse has to know everything about you. Almost like every inch of your body they have to know.
I mean, you're not supposed to hide, depending on where you're getting divorced. You're not supposed to hide anything. Like, you're supposed to tell them all of your bank accounts, all of your debt, the name of your grandmother's first dog. I don't know. There's a lot of shit.
So after that, what ended up happening? Did you become like a super huge success? You went to college and became like a multi-billionaire, and you lost it all? You're talking to me?
No. I got divorced, and I actually finished college because there was this time. So we were married. I left him because it was a not good relationship in a number of ways. and we kind of didn't do the formal divorce part because I didn't
Mhm.
have start the proceedings, and for some reason, he wasn't doing it. So, I finally got the money together to do the thing,
Mhm.
and I did the thing, and in that period between leaving him and doing the thing, I finished my education, which, I mean, doesn't do me a lot of good. I have a bachelor's of science in information technology with a concentration in, uh, web design. So, uh
You think that would be something that would be in demand, you think,
you
right?
would think, but I also
Mhm.
live in Montana, and I don't really wanna move somewhere where it would be really in demand, and at the
Mhm.
time I graduated, the whole idea of remote work wasn't that big of a thing. Now,
Mhm.
if I probably looked for a job, there's a chance I could get one maybe, but I'm doing other things now, so
Yeah.
that was also a colossal waste of time and money.
So you would say college is essentially a scam, you would say?
Oh, I would absolutely say college is a scam. I would say that there are things that you can learn in college that you probably can't learn other places right now.
Mhm.
But I would also say don't go just because you feel forced to go or because someone tells you you have to. There are so many other ways you can do it, so many other things you can learn. So unless you're going to be like a doctor or a lawyer or something, I'm not entirely sure it's at all worth it.
Yeah, like, I think you had said back then you had to pay all the debt off, right?
Oh no, I haven't paid the debt off either.
That's another thing. Yeah, you're basically this is kind of how I feel like they made college. They give you a free education for about what? You're in school since what, like 6, 5, so like 13 years of free schooling. So they're factoring in you owe us back that free education with this paid for education. Honestly, that's why I think it was made with the idea if we give you something free initially up front, you go, you pay us back with your high paying job, but then the
Well, you
colleges
see,
end up
that's the
started
sad
feeling
thing.
worthless. Yeah,
Is public school isn't free. Your parents are paying taxes to send you. So at
yeah, you're
some
right.
point,
Yeah,
it's paid for somewhere. And
yeah.
even if you get loans from the government, that is still taxpayer money that they are dishing out to you to pay for your schooling in college. It's a damn scam from the bottom to the top ever since the
Mhm.
Department of Education was enacted, and the idea of student loans did in fact make it worse.
Like my thing here is because in high school, I can understand why people would want to go because the teachers push you on this dream of like go to college or you'll be stuck working at this like you'll be a welder and it's like welders make pretty good fucking money.
Oh,
Like
but
that's
welders do fucking well.
almost like the 80K a year jobs. If you consider that bad, that's you're okay. You might be crackhead, honestly.
The demonization of blue collar manual labor, skilled manual labor, is one of the worst things that has happened to this country because we are now suffering from an extreme lack of people who can do those jobs, and those jobs are part of what keep our lives running. If we don't have plumbers, what happens to you? Where are you going to go take a shit? You're muted.
In the desert.
That only works if you live in the desert.
Damn, benefit to me. Well, people already take shits in the sidewalks here in
I
California.
mean,
So, well, yeah, you're
thankfully
right.
not an issue here. But I
We've
mean,
become
then you
like
have the
India.
winter, and then where are they going to take a shit? Because you're not going to go outside and take a shit in negative 10-degree weather. I don't recommend that.
Yeah,
It's going to
like
freeze your ass.
you have. Like, I never understood why teachers, some of them that work, push this idea of going to college and they demonize the everyday common man job that is useful in every scenario. Like, if you became an internet tech guy for Spectrum, when you go and you fix the lines and you fix people's internet problems, that's more useful than some
Mhm.
gender studies degree.
It's I can't really say exactly where it started because I don't personally know, but
Mhm,
somewhere along the lines, the idea of working a job that you work with your hands that
mhm,
requires physical effort became a bad thing. Not the money that it makes you, but the
mhm,
fact that you're doing it at all. The fact that you aren't in a job that required you to pay somebody else thousands of dollars for your education, even though a lot of those jobs you have to usually go through some kind of journeyman program or something else where you actually work with somebody to learn what you're doing and over the course of years. So in the end, you are really just as educated as any PhD holder. It's just you're
mhm.
education is in something far more specific and in many cases far more applicable to other people's lives.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It's got to do with the fact that for the longest time, for all of eternity, really, humans have had to, in some way, physically labor to provide our lives. We have
Yeah.
now reached a point where the people who have to physically labor are much smaller than they used to be because of technology.
Yeah.
But we still need those people who keep the technology going. And for some people, the idea that someone else it's the idea of a job someone else does. So if it's someone else's job, it can't be a good job because your job has to be the most important job.
Yeah. Damn those biases.
Right.
God. The other thing that people don't know about you is you started off on Twitch initially.
Mhm.
You didn't begin on YouTube. And then I remember you saying you got off Twitch eventually because their platform just became just fucking degenerate as hell.
Twitch is
That's not
retarded. I
changed.
mean, I technically still stream on Twitch, but I'm no longer affiliated. So, people can't send me money or buy subs or gift bits to me or anything. I really just stream there for those who like to watch me there but don't like to watch on other platforms. So technically, Twitch does still get to make a little money off of me because I'm sure they torture people with ads. But at least I'm not contributing by, they getting a 50-50 split of whatever in the world they're charging me or whatever in the world they're charging people for those things. But yeah, Twitch itself is definitely become an issue in terms of how they view their customer. They don't look at their customer as a customer, they look at their customer as a product in terms of how they're going to market their customer to their advertisers. And I'm not into that.
Like, because remember you said you had gotten to like have a big fan base to a certain degree,
I
at
wouldn't
least
call
the
it big.
ones where like
I had a
at
couple
the end,
people.
when you got paid, you'd be like,
Mhm.
oh wow, I'm making some pretty. I thought I got up there. I'm like one of them now. And then I remember you said you had quit for a while. You came back and all those people were gone. I was like, damn, that fucking
Oh,
sucks.
I mean, going back there, yeah, you kind of have to start over because what it is when you are a content creator is if you're
Mhm.
not there when people want to watch you, they're going to go find somebody else to watch. So if you're not there when they expect you to be there because they come to they plan not necessarily, they don't plan their lives around you, but somewhere in the back of their head they think, oh, at this time this thing's
Yeah.
going to happen and I want to do that thing that's going to happen. And so they show up and have fun and then they go. And if you're not there, they're like, well, I had this time that I was going to do this thing, so I'm going to go do it over here instead.
Mhm.
Because they're going to still do the same thing. It's just whether or not they're going to do it with you is the thing.
Yeah. That's why I'll always tell people if you want to do it as a hobby, then at least tell people what days you might be streaming or you might
Hmm.
upload videos. Because if they don't know anything, then they're just not going to be showing up at all.
Yep.
Because there's some people that won't say anything and they'll be like, "Well, I uploaded like in a few months after my break, and they weren't there." And it's like, "Well, yeah, they don't
Mhm.
know if you're coming back." Like people could easily like start this and quit it because they don't see like the followers,
Mhm.
go up on their accounts or subscribers on YouTube, and they're like thinking, "Oh, I can't do it anymore." And that's the real crazy part is that like in any adversity, if someone just sees like their sub number not go up, that means they just want to quit. And it's like, were you really ever into this?
Yeah. Yeah. If content creation is something that you want to do, you have to realize there's a long period before you really have subs, before you really have money coming in at all. So if you go into it thinking, "Ooh, I'm going to get rich," no, it doesn't work
Yeah.
like that.
So
I'm
then,
still not rich.
what do you mean? What do you mean? Crazy. You're just rolling the money. You're a multimillionaire, as you
God,
told
I
me.
wish.
And then after that, because you're not originally from Montana, are you?
No, I am. Well, I mean, depends on how you define it. So I was
Mm.
born in Montana, but my father was in the Air Force, so we
Mm.
moved around a lot. So I was born here. We lived here for about 2 years. Then we lived in Germany. Then we lived in New Mexico. Then we lived in North Dakota. Then we came back to Montana.
Okay. And then Sheep Sitting and is there because you had him plant his flag there.
Yeah, because I went and got him.
Mm. Yeah, because
He
he was
was
going to
living
move to
in
Texas.
Atlanta, and
Yeah.
he was talking about going to Texas and working with Eric, and but that wasn't quite happening very quickly at that point, and he wasn't in a really great situation.
Mhm.
And I happened to know there was some jobs up here that he could get. And so I drove down and picked him up, and he got some jobs.
Mhm.
And then the stuff with Eric finally kicked off, and he became community manager.
Yeah.
And that brings us to today. I mean,
Yeah. And that stuff that he does doesn't really require him being at Texas, does it? He can just do it
no,
mostly online.
he's a remote worker, so he
Mhm.
works from the house.
Okay, that's no, it's great to have. I mean, imagine that your job is being a community manager. You just can talk to people every day. Good lord,
Yeah.
man. I gotta wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, man. I hate it. Good lord, man. I'm not even alive at 5 o'clock in the morning. If someone knocked on my door at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'd be like, man, that better be Jesus. 'Cause I'm gonna beat that person up.
Yeah, here's
Actually,
the problem is if I'm awake at 5 o'clock in the morning, it's because I haven't been to bed yet.
oh my god, I forgot you're a night owl. You like staying up longer, don't you?
Yeah, I'm a nighttime person. So
Hmm. So you'll be up for like what? Till like maybe 4 or 5 in the morning, actually.
2 or 3 right now. I'm trying not to stay up too late because I'm not making enough money to take over my day job, so I still have to get up and go to work. It's just I don't go to
Yeah.
work at like 8 in the morning.
Oh yeah. Like for my days off, I'll try to stay up as long as I can. Or the day going into the days off, I try to stay up as long as I can. But then the next day I'll be so tired. I'll be like, man, you know how you have those like random naps throughout the day? You're like, man, why
Mhm.
am I so tired? Like, but then I realized staying up in the night before, that's kind of what did that. Oh
Yep.
god, I hate wasting the morning. Like you got a day off and you sleep all day and you're like, damn, I wasted my whole
I
day
didn't
sleeping.
I didn't do nothing.
God. I was the black guy they say that I was on CNN. Nothing. God. Well, the other thing I'll ask you is, people know you like horror movies actually.
A lot. Yep. It's my favorite time
So
of year.
it's October now. It's my favorite
Mhm.
month of the year as well. Are you gonna go trick or treating?
No, no. Strangely, they seem to frown on that at my age.
God, what tradition did we have where fucking kids could go out and ask random strangers for candy? Just I
Yeah,
don't know
your
how that.
parents would just let you out at a certain age, your parents just launched you out the door and let you go door to door in your neighborhood without them.
I imagine that doesn't happen as much now because there's a lot of bad people more now. I hope. I
The
hope, right?
irony is it doesn't happen as much now, but there's actually things aren't more dangerous now.
Hmm.
Contrary to popular belief, you are less likely to be killed, abducted, blah 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 than you were previous to current day.
Oh no.
Uh
So at least when I go out, I'm not gonna get diddied. You know.
yeah, yeah, well, you still shouldn't do things like, I don't know, enter strange people's houses, take candy from strangers, that kind of thing. But you're still not it's the stranger danger thing is to some degree an overblown issue. The real scary people are the ones you know.
True. Yeah. And you remember that old Halloween thing where like the whole razor blades and the apples thing? Apparently,
Mhm.
when I got older, I realized they did said that that was never ever happening.
It actually well, not in apples, but so a guy in, I wanna say New Jersey,
Ugh.
actually poisoned some candy bars. He gave them to his kids, and then he dropped some off in a local store, like, on their shelves,
Oh Lord, man.
tried to make it look like it was some kind of, manufacturer thing or someone else,
Mhm,
and, I don't so that's where that came from, is
mhm.
that guy did that thing, and then people started freaking out, "Well, what if?" And
Yeah.
but a lot of those kinds of things do actually have like an isolated event where it
Mhm.
happened once and somebody was actually trying to take out somebody else very specific with it, but people freak out and try to apply it to
They have
everybody.
this like weird. They have this like Mandela effect where now this situation apparently that's only happened once has been always happening. We just didn't
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and it's like, oh no, we've become
Yeah, because they don't know
crazy.
they vaguely heard the story once and then they assume it was something that it
I did
wasn't.
name read the story. I guarantee you, they just read the headline.
Oh, probably.
Gosh,
Or
but
they just listened to it on the news since they actually had real news back in the day.
CNN, oh, always the greatest. CBS.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's actually part of why people think things are so much worse than they really are, is because with the 24 new hour news cycle and now just the permanently on news cycle, there always needs to be something to get people to watch. So they're so busy looking for something to scare you with, to keep your attention with, that half the time it's not even as bad as they say it is.
Yeah, because like I feel like the news is designed to like get people to just be afraid of just
Mhm.
everything. Like just well, what's the word? Like fear mongering,
Yep,
actually.
that's
Yeah.
one a word for it, definitely.
Mm. Just
But
putting
yeah,
out
go
all
ahead.
Trump is a big example of that, you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
Every day someone calling him a Nazi or a threat to our democracy and all that other bullshit. Ugh, gosh.
I mean, politicians in general are a threat to democracy, but
You know, yeah, I forgot. They're basically what's that word? Safe from any criticism, you know. They can't do wrong, but this one guy, he was always the real reason that everything is as bad as they are. You know, Kamala Harris got to where she was because she used her mouth, obviously.
Yeah.
It's crazy that women are going to vote for her,
I
and then women are like, but we don't use our mouths. Women don't do that to get higher positions in the workforce. But the person you're voting for did. So
a lot of
what?
people don't want to admit that shit. I don't get it.
Yeah. But like my thing is like, if you know that's a bad thing, or and you think women are better than doing that to get higher positions at work, why would you vote for someone? Just like, do people not have no moral consistency? If you're telling
Well,
me you believe something, could just show it in a little bit of fashion, you know?
first you have to convince them that she actually did it. And a lot of them, you're going to have a difficult time with that. And then you have to convince them that it wasn't okay. There's so much cognitive dissonance for those people that it's scary. They don't look past the surface level of anything, because if they think about it too hard, they're going to hurt themselves.
Oh yeah, like the person that they built up in their head not being the person that they thought, and learning that they might be a fraud. That's too much for them. That's why I think people are always going to be, you know, trying to have the cognitive dissonance or basically act like it's not happening, because in their mind they just can't accept the person that they idolize is a terrible person.
Well, and then you have the whole issue of, if the government's not here to save me, I have to save myself, and I don't think I'm capable of that.
Don't
Too many
worry, if we're
people
in the
don't feel
Walking
like
Dead,
they
you would
can't.
live.
Yeah, too many people don't feel like they can. uh, they don't have the agency to be able to
Mhm.
take control of their own lives, and they are afraid to take control of their own lives, because what if they fuck up? Then whose fault is it? It's their fault, and they don't want it to be
Yeah.
their fault.
Oof. So everyone knows now, outside of you doing the horror Amorata thing, you're the abysmal critic too. So you have
I am
two
the
alter
abysmal critic.
egos. So you have
Yes.
two alter egos. Oh my god. You're basically you have that split personality. Oh my god. So you have your regular civilian personality. You got the horror Amorata, the octopus with boobs and dragon wings. And now you're an abysmal critic. Which one are you? Apparently, you got three of you.
Well, now you see, the horror Amorata and abysmal critic are technically the same one. It's just what I'm
Technically,
doing in
you are the same person.
spaces.
That's true.
So, when I'm on the Abysmal Critic channel, that channel's basically just videos. So that's where I've sat down and I record my thoughts on whatever in that channel stage case, about whatever video game topic I'm talking about for the day, and that's it. That's what that channel is. It's video game, my opinion on video game stuff,
Mhm.
and
So, what was the driving force of that to make you make that channel? Because I think you had mentioned a while ago you just wanted to just chime in and give your thoughts on all the controversy surrounding the gaming space, and you know as well as I do, there's one every day. There's quite literally one every day. I don't think there's
well,
been a day where there hasn't been a controversy.
there's you know what? If there's going to be a day where there's not actually controversy, I've found that it's Saturday or Sunday into Monday. That
Yeah, true.
24-hour
Yeah,
period, right through there,
yeah.
there's a dry spot sometimes. But you know, the reason it's funny. So the reason this channel got started was because I was laying in the bathtub and I was thinking to myself, whatever the topic of the day was that was going through, is I was angry about it. And I'm like, you know what? It's time that I just that I start talking, because while I might not have an original thought, I can at least be another voice to talk about the things that I care about. And I am actually very passionate about gaming. It's been a
Mhm.
part of my life literally since the day I was born. Without it, I very well probably wouldn't be able to type or anything. The doctors actually told my mother after I was born that I probably wouldn't be able to type or do a lot of things just because um, my brain is wired
Mhm.
a little off.
Mhm.
But thanks to the hand-eye coordination that, video gaming does help you with, I'm able to do far more than anybody really ever expected. And so it's something I am very passionate about. And to see the way things have been going and worse, to see sometimes people get stuck into the same arguments and repeating the same things over and over, which doesn't actually help us fix any problems. I wanted to be able to start speaking my piece on it, and, even if nobody listened, at least I, was able to say what I thought, and hopefully, maybe somebody with a bigger voice might hear it, and maybe we could break through some of the cycle.
Because I've been at this point in content creation. Maybe you feel the same, where like it's not you don't really care about the views. It's more like I just feel good that I made the video to get my thoughts out on the situation. You know
Mhm.
that clears my head now.
Oh, yeah.
If it does good in views, I could give two shits anymore. I'm never ever really person that care about views to begin with. I just feel good about doing the content so I can finally get this thought out of my head. I can be like, oh, I finally got it out. I can finally speak about it. That's all
I
I care
actually
about
freak
now.
out a little when the views start to get good. It actually it scares me when I have a video start to really take off,
Mm.
and it's like, "Why the fuck are it why is everybody watching this? Please
Hmm.
stop." I've actually said, "I want them to stop watching this now to Sheep," and he's like, "God damn it, girls, shut up."
Uh, and when you say that, you're gonna make them want to watch more. You know that, right?
Well, in worse, because it's one of those things, it's like I want to talk about it because it bothers me, but
Hmm.
then at the same time, there are a lot of people I know who aren't seeing the same type of success, and I don't wanna talk about it and make them feel bad because they want to see those numbers. They would really love they would kill to have those numbers popping up on their videos. So, why am I being so ungrateful to say something like that?
Yeah, it's one of those things in gaming where there's so many game franchises from all the companies, so many individual games that have come out. I, for the most part, will only really talk about like the aspects of it. I told people there's some games I haven't played recently, but the stuff that we're talking about most of the time has nothing to do with actually playing the game. Because what I've realized that people do is something that they don't like. The audience doesn't like when the other audience members talk about how bad something is. Not like the
Mhm,
companies companies will always be talked bad about. But I've noticed that like audiences themselves, some more than others, will get mad at the other consumers for speaking out about how bad a product might be. And
mhm.
like we use Ubisoft for example. I'm pretty sure you read the article where the CEO was like he blamed gamers and
Yeah.
solid quality and all that stuff. And then you had fans that were like, man, why are gamers so hard to appease? I'm a gamer and I like what I get. But there's two different distinctions between that. If anyone doesn't understand what I'm going to bring up, which is you as a person could be like, if you like what you get, you're more than happy to like what you get. But there's other people that aren't going to like that and they're going to speak out about it. Just because you want to subject yourself to something does not mean other people should. That's not how
Mhm.
things improve. That's not how things get better. You saw with the Helldiver situation.
Oh, yeah.
There was two where the Helldivers console fans on PlayStation 5, they were like, oh my God, these PC fans are like so mean. All they did was just bash Sony for their bad idea. Yeah, because they were literally trying to scam people. Like, what the
Mhm.
fuck? They were literally trying to rip you off your money. Of course, we're going to speak about that.
Well,
So that's
it's
the. Mhm. Go ahead.
so funny with some of those things. Uh, Especially, I mean, you're talking about the Sony ponies, as I have
Oh,
found out they're called.
oh, Lord. Okay.
They
All
get
right.
so well, and not just them. Console people who
Mm-hmm.
only have consoles, and I'm not for any of you, if you are out there and you just have consoles and you just play consoles, good. I'm glad you play your video games. That's all I
Mm-hmm.
care about. As long as you're enjoying your video games where you enjoy your video games, I'm cool with that. I have I have my PC and I have the consoles. So, but I still end up playing 90% on PC and there's a reason for that. The reason for that is freedom. Realistically, that is the whole reason for that. Is there's so much more I can do on my PC compared to the consoles, plus a lot of shit I don't have to deal with on my PC versus the consoles. I don't have to pay for the extra subscription fees, etc., etc. So when they do something like with Helldivers specifically, when they come around and say, "Hey, you need this PlayStation Network account to play on your PC," I'm like, "Fuck you, I don't, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to play your game now."
Yeah, because a lot of people are going to be like, well, the whole cognitive dissonance about how stupid a person could be, they'll be like, it's free. It's like, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't, why are you making a PSN account to play on your PC?
Well, and it just gives them another way to it gives them another way to harvest information. And that's
And we know,
literally what they want. They want to pump
yep,
up their numbers for the
yeah,
PlayStation Network for their investors, and it's another way to harvest your information.
yeah,
Anytime you do something like that, you are giving them more of your information.
yeah. And people know Sony, not as much as a Nintendo or Microsoft with Xbox. Sony's gone through major hacks. I mean, they just had one recently with Insomniac, like less than 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Just 6 months ago, this last year, toward the end of last year, you remember? I think you did a video on this
Oh
where
no, it wasn't.
Insomniac, the company that does the Spider-Man Marvel Universe games that they want, they all got hacked and they released and they leaked all their plans. That just happened like 6 months ago.
Your
You're like,
information
just
are not
trust
safe
them,
with these companies.
bro. Just trust them, bro. They got your back, bro. This company's your friend, bro. It's like,
Well, a lot
what?
of them are so upset because of the idea that someone might hack the game and then pirate the game. They are upset because a PC player has that option. You can pirate games if you're on PC, and that. And while I'm going to be honest, I don't necessarily support piracy in the current day where they're basically saying you don't own your games. I have a much harder time saying that you shouldn't pirate because if I don't own my game, then you don't own the game either.
That's true. Yeah. I guess it's not really stealing if I never owned it to begin with.
Well, if I don't own it, then how can you own it? I mean, I can't if I can't purchase it from you, then you must not own it. So am I really stealing if I take it?
Yeah. And it's like I told people after I pay off my other big thing that gets paid off this week, I'm gonna choose between getting a PS5 and an Xbox because I want to just do some more console gaming. I actually miss doing it in general.
Mhm.
But I think people gotta understand the aspects that most like people like us are talking about. We're not talking about the actual game. We're talking about the politics surrounding it because
Yeah.
playing it could have a different experience than actually the politics surrounding it. I could play Star Wars Outlaw right now and maybe enjoy it. I'm not saying I would, but maybe that's the case. But that has nothing to do with the conversation surrounding the game. You know, those are two completely separate different things. Like the Ubisoft CEO being like, man, solid quality is not good enough for gamers. That would have and doing that in the video and talking about that has nothing to do with liking their games, you know,
Right.
because that makes no sense. Solid quality is the minimum they can offer. And if we're being completely honest with ourselves, most of these companies have not been offering solid quality in anything. So that's a stretch in and of itself. If you really wanted to go out that in that range, right? If they've been offering solid quality, why are they trying to offer up their company? They just came out a few days ago. They're trying to sell their company to Tencent. Company owns Riot Games, Epic Games, right? They're the ones that do Fortnite, obviously. Tencent is filthy rich, so I imagine they just want the number to go up and up. Tencent's like, man, 5 billion. No.
Well,
10
Tencent
billion.
already
Okay.
owns 10% of Ubisoft to top it off, and they own
Yeah.
another 49.9% of the Guillermo holding company, who owns the majority share in Ubisoft. So what they're saying at this point is that the Guillermos are probably going to just try to do a backdoor deal with Tencent to get out from under their other smaller investors and continue to operate as they want to, because Tencent really doesn't give a shit. They just want the money.
Yeah, Tencent could quite literally just buy them out right now if they really wanted to, but you know, because the other thing with the games, apparently Star Wars Outlaw has only sold like what, under or over 1 million units.
Yeah, they
That's
just
not
got
good.
to 1 million units, and yeah, that for a supposed quadruple A experience that they don't want you to be able to own. They only sold just over 1 million games, and
Yeah.
it's even crazier when you look at the fact that you can pay. So you can do either you can pay for their premium Ubisoft Plus service and get the game early for 3 days, in which case, because they didn't do any really good troubleshooting before they finally got it, when it finally launches for everybody else, they're going to release a patch that totally wipes out all the progress that you had those 3
Remember
days
that.
to do,
Mhm.
in which case, what's the fucking point? And or you can pay extra money when you buy. I'm sorry, I don't have hands, so I can't do the
I have hands.
quotations. Buy, yes, exactly, the game, and they still have the same problem because even though you paid extra, it doesn't matter. I am cool with early access games when we're talking about an early access game that is
Like a
like,
reason to pre-order them, yeah.
well, like a Baldur's Gate 3 thing.
Yeah.
Like it was early access from like 2020 until it finally released in 2023.
Mhm.
And the reason they did that was so that they could get customer feedback. Yes, to some degree at that point, or well, not to some degree. At that point, yes, the customer is the beta tester. The customer is the person who actually gives feedback, finds the bugs, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
But at least with that kind of early access, you're paying less than you would for the full price of the game, and you still get the game complete on release. So you
Mhm.
bought it early, you got to play it longer, you got to input on its development, and you still get the full game when it's done without paying more.
Right? Mhm.
So I'm cool with that kind of early access. This 3 days before we release the game, and you can pay another if you pay us an extra $100 on top of the price of the game, can go fuck itself.
I think another problem that makes this experience even worse when it comes to like gaming now is the people that are involved that are all on Twitter just basically doing this thing of like, why are these? Because Alyssa Mercante would be the biggest example of it, but even not just her, a lot of the people doing this too, where they're like saying these people are just a minority, they have no impact on anything. Really, no one does. All right, but when the games fail, they surely do like to conveniently blame everybody for not supporting it. They'll even tell you the game's not for you.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
cool, awesome. I'm
You
not
don't like
buying.
it, don't buy it. Okay, I won't.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, the game fucking failed, and all my friends lost their
Why
job.
didn't
You're the
you
one
support it?
advocating that we should not buy the game.
'Cause I
So
didn't
your
want to.
friends, yeah, fuck them. I don't care. Maybe you should be a. You're a terrible fucking cheerleader. You made them lose their jobs. What the fuck? I do nothing. I don't know those people anyway. But you have all these people that are just like minorities. I love how something that's called a minority had that big of an impact to make
Mhm.
something that big fail. Oh my god, that makes no
Yeah.
sense either.
We either have all the power or none of the power. Quick, make up your mind.
What do you think about the Concord situation?
Oh god,
Sony's
that was
Overwatch
hilarious.
failure.
That whole thing was hilarious. You saw that.
They
Everybody
try to
saw
have
that coming.
Overwatch. Yeah. They really wanted an Overwatch competitor only to realize, hey, you're probably like 8 years late on this.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that they thought, okay, so when you're dealing with gaming, obviously there is always a lag time between design concept and actual release because these things take time.
Mhm.
But you can't start designing a game that is the current hot thing right now and release it 8 years later. Because by that point, the current hot thing nobody cares about anymore. It's already been copied 100 times by people who did it cheaper and faster. And it's gone. Move on. Find something new. The dumb thing with Concord is that they thought they really had a great idea. They thought, well, we're going to provide a story for them. We're going to give them every week a 2-minute vignette of these awesome characters that we created for them. And that's going to keep them coming back. People don't play those kinds of games for the awesome vignettes on their
Yeah.
characters. They do play the game because they get attached to a character or because they like certain characters, but you have to have a design that they've enjoyed looking at first.
Mhm.
And for second, you have to have something there to catch them other than Guardian of the Galaxy ripoff. And so that whole thing from beginning to end, everybody who had even half a brain knew where that was going from the beginning. And that they spent, I mean, the rumors are, of course, what, 800 million or 400 million on that.
Keep in mind when we're saying this is what they're telling the media too. So it was, I think, rumored roughly around 400 million. It could be more, give or take how many years of development this game had been. It'd been like since early 20, like late 2015. It's been development, honestly.
Well, and in fairness, they didn't really, they being the Concord developers and Sony didn't really tell anybody that. Somebody got that through another source who was anonymous. So how accurate that information is, you cannot be entirely sure of. But if that is the number, even if it's only half that number, even if it's only the 200,000 or 200 million they originally quoted, then it's still a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
And they still lost every penny of it plus some.
Because and to be fair, it is a number we could kind of believe in a little bit, because on their recent game, Spider-Man 2, the sequel to Insomniac's PS4 Spider-Man game, the budget for that one was rumored to be around $200 million. Right. And that game came out, and the Spider-Man, I think that's like the biggest game. That game kind of like fizzled out. Conversation. Yeah, it's crazy. We're at this point now where a Spider-Man game can drop in. Conversation's just not there for it. The word of mouth didn't spread very well. Like with the other one. The other one, I watched the cutscenes. I know the story. Oh my God, such a great job it did on that PS4 one. Such a good job. And for some reason, they made so much. I imagine those guys who made a butt fuck ton of money. And they're like, you know what? We're rich. Fuck them. You know, we little bros ain't even here anymore on our level. We're the rich guys. God.
Oh, the sad thing, what happens with a lot of that is the people who made the good one, the one that you really like, usually start development on the next one. And then something changes within the corporate structure. And all of a sudden, the people who made that really great video game that you loved leave the company because they are no longer allowed to create the game the way they see that they wanted to create it, the way that they made it, that made the first one so good. Because all of a sudden you have these corporate overlords and investors saying, no, you can't do that. Quick, let's hire this consulting company and have them help you so that you get an authentic experience. Because, you know, some people complained a little bit about this one character that realistically no one really cared about anyway. And but let's not actually listen to the customer. We're going to listen to the consulting firms and the marketing people, and because they know what's up. And then you get community managers in there who don't actually do what they're supposed to do, which is listen to the community, gather the information, and report back to their corporate overlords saying, hey, this is what the community is saying. And when you have someone in that kind of position of trust actually presenting back the information that they want as opposed to what the community wants, you get things really screwed up on top of that.
The other thing is what I've mostly come to think about is like they're probably trying to hire some like 20-something kid to like groom to be like an executive, and you got this 20-some-year-old kid coming in busting down the door like the Kool-Aid man being like, I want the game made like this, because they have to prove that they're like the boss or whatever. It's probably so cringe, these companies at this point now.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, and then to top it off, that kid that you're talking about costs less than the really good developer with all the experience that created the game in the first place.
Yeah, it's highly likely that the same people that did the Spider-Man PS4 game that everyone likes, likely there was some shuffling in the creatives over at that company going to the next one. Because I've noticed that I guess the conversation is not around where I'm at, but a lot of these big games that come out, conversation that's just kind of fizzled out. I mean, Dragon Ball Sparking Zeroes came out recently. Hopefully that's going to be in the conversation for a while. Hopefully that gets played a lot. But what else has been coming out that's been really like getting people to be like, oh my God, I got to buy this new AAA game, you know?
AAA, it's not happening. Realistically, the funny thing is in gaming right now, if I'm not hearing a lot about the game, then I kind of think it might be at least good, because games that people like aren't getting a whole lot of conversation overall. They'll get a mention. They'll get, I played this game and it was great, and then they'll move on to the next topic. But that's mostly because the people who play the game know that somebody else is going to then play that game, and they want to be able to experience it authentically as opposed to hearing somebody else go on about it too much. So if you're not hearing a lot about a game, it might actually be worth checking out for yourself.
That's true.
Whereas if you're hearing a lot about a game, unless what you're hearing is it's selling a whole lot repeatedly, like Black Myth Wukong, what you've heard about that game isn't really so much about the game itself as it is about how the games journalists were attacking it. You heard about how much it's sold. You heard about the fact that despite it being called not diverse, there are women in it. You didn't hear about, well, I mean, and you did have some people talk about how they enjoyed the gameplay and how nice it looked, but you didn't hear a lot about that. You didn't hear a lot about the actual content of the game because most people want to play the game, not listen to other people talk about the good game they played. Whereas when you have a bad game like Dustborn, you end up hearing a lot about the gameplay and how much the gameplay sucked and how this feature was awful and how that feature was awful. And it kind of makes you have to stop and rethink how you want to approach the conversation of what might be good to play.
Yeah, because I remember this happened with Ghosts of Tsushima recently with the sequel that got announced, Ghost of Yote. Everyone that talks about Ghost of Tsushima just says it's a great game. They don't even really go into the story elements of it or what makes it a really great game. You just hear like, oh, it's a great game, you should play it. Oh, okay. Thanks for the good word of mouth there. That's great details. And then Ghost of Yote is announced on that state of play that PlayStation did. And that might have been, man, I haven't seen a situation like that in forever in like the nerd community where that actually lit the entire like nerd sphere on fire. You know?
Oh, yeah.
What did you think about that day? Were you getting called like a fake right conservatives or some bullshit like that?
Well, for one, anybody who really converses with me is well aware of the fact I'm not a conservative. I'm not a liberal and I'm not a conservative. I'm a libertarian. I'm an anarcho-capitalist, and everything else can just go fuck itself.
I like that.
But when it came to that, the problem I had is there seems to be a group of people that feel like that the opinion that I don't have enough information to make an opinion yet isn't an opinion. They seem to think that I should already know if I hate it or if I love it. And for me, the information provided is not enough to tell me anything. It's enough to tell me that this is a game set around somewhere called Yotai with a woman in it, and there's vaguely Western music in the trailer. That's all I got. That is not enough for me to say, oh, this is going to be terrible. Oh, this is going to be great. Oh, I have to go hang them. I just don't care. I need more information. And for me, especially since it's not like I'm going to be going out and making this purchase tomorrow, it doesn't matter if I'm worried about it or upset about it right now, because I have plenty of time to make up my mind.
True. My biggest problem that happened was that everything that we know that has happened with gaming in like the last 2, 3, 4 years, actually, I just see it as if like maybe people have been going like, okay, this company made a really good game. They were definitely rewarded for that behavior, at least from the country itself. They honored them, and from what I understand, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, the Japanese were really thrilled with Ghost of Tsushima.
Now, on one hand, I can believe that these people want to come back and do a great job. And there's, to be fair, like you said, there's no reason to not believe them because, well, they haven't exactly given you a reason to not believe them, right? They haven't done anything. Companies are going on Twitter calling you a bigot if you didn't like Ghost of Tsushima. You know, they've not done anything bad. And when I agree with you, it's like, if that company hasn't done anything bad to give you a reason why they haven't and are not going to produce a bad game, could we at least, I would say, shit on people when they give you a reason to shit on them. Why are people shitting on a company that has given you no reason to do that? Honestly, they've done nothing. Honestly, from as far as I can tell, you know.
To some degree, I think it's kind of a form of PTSD because people now are so uptight and so looking for that. They're kind of worried, I think, about them getting a gotcha moment, like one of these woke people is actually going to do something good and they're going to enjoy it, and then they're going to find out that they enjoyed it, and that's going to change their whole worldview, and before they know it, they're drinking a soy latte and holding a sign of some kind and voting for Kamala. But you know, that's not how it works. People you hate can make things that you like.
I told people that. I agree. Yeah. And most of the time, let's be honest here, most things you probably enjoy, you kind of find out are probably from people you probably despise when you hear them talk about anything not your favorite thing, honestly. Yeah. And then what? Sorry.
Well, for that kind of thing, it's about, are you more worried about the person's point of view, their personal politics or whatever, than you are about getting a product that you enjoy? Though that's the question. At that point, I don't blame anybody if they are hesitant or even unwilling to buy a product from people that they don't feel they can support, because to me that makes sense. I understand if that is your opinion, if that is your position. I don't understand trying to force that same position on everybody else.
Yeah. So the first thing I'll say is I think what you said there is true as well. I think people have to understand that not every situation is a one-to-one comparison. There have been a lot of one-to-one comparisons. There have been a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
things that have been similar, and a lot of things that have transferred over between, like, that's just video games, with TV and movies too.
Hmm.
But if this is the one where basically they haven't exactly, this company, I would say, they haven't really given the consumers to believe they can't make a good game. Let's see if they can make another one good with a different character. Actually, what's even more crazy is no one thought about is if they make the second game with this female character and it's just as good as the first one, or maybe on the same level, that proves that they can do that. They're multifaceted. They can
Right.
create a character one way good one way, and they can create a character good another way. Because at the end of the day, the reason why sequels do not do as well as the first one is because the creativity gets a little stale, because you kind of blow your load on the first one.
Right.
Now, if they can prove they can make a great sequel, that's even more ups for them. But the other problem that a lot of people I've seen not understand this is knowing the problems that we know. We talk about cognitive dissonance. I feel
Hmm.
like people are cognitively not understanding that we don't even know if the people that have worked on the first game have been shuffled out, like potentially with
Yeah.
Rocksteady or Insomniac. Because remember earlier this year, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. People were like, that's the same Rocksteady that did the Arkham games in name, not
Yeah.
people on the team.
Right.
So are we going to believe that this is the one that's not going to be involved with all that stuff? You're right. It's too early to tell.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't know. It's a 50-50 at this point.
I mean, and I would even say it's an 80-20. 80% it might be bad, 20% it'll be good. But at this point,
Yeah.
why do I need to waste my energy being upset about it? Because they're pretty much set in the direction they're going. Anything I say isn't going to save them. These companies have already proven that they're
Mhm.
not actually interested in listening to us. By the time they're releasing these trailers, they've already made up their mind. They've already
Oh yeah.
set the direction they're going, and they don't care. They
Mhm.
think that what they're giving us is what we want, and the only thing left for us to do is to prove, no, this is not what we want. But at the same
Mhm.
time, you do need to watch so that you don't miss something that you want.
Mhm. And I've always told people this too. You can definitely end up liking a product from someone you don't like, but people are a little too prideful to admit that. I think it's like, yeah, I might not like it, but you made a good product. Like, that's not probably ever happening with most people,
Well, for
honestly.
a lot of them, it feels like, if, like I said, it feels like some kind of gotcha. If that person that they
Yeah.
dislike can make something they like, or say something that they agree with, then that somehow makes them less. And I don't understand that mindset myself. I mean, it's just like the saying, a broken clock is right twice a day. So if someone says something that is objectively correct or does something that I find objectively good, the fact that I hate them has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that whatever in the world is good or right. It just is.
And that's the other thing is, I think we talked about this on the other show a long time ago, was people want to have the same opinions as their favorite content creators, to the point where they're
Makes
becoming
no
just
sense.
basically borderline NPCs at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone, I'm not even naming names. I've just seen this overall in general. It's one of those things where people have to understand, even that favorite content creator you like would
Mhm.
respect you more if you had a different opinion.
Well, and you have to remember that at some point it is totally natural and normal to at some point disagree with somebody. If you are
Yeah.
agreeing with somebody
Yeah.
all the time, then one of you is lying.
Or you're just sucking dick really good, honestly.
Well, maybe.
Like, I noticed this with Fallout. A lot of people on Twitter that we follow where they had this big argument or Fallout, and they were like, "You didn't like it." I was like, "Was I expected to not like?" That's the thing, is like, am I supposed to watch something and be expected to not like it? I should watch something and determine if I like it or not like it based off
Mhm.
my own way. I shouldn't
Right.
be expected by some preconceived notion to not like it based off of, like, your feelings. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
should. Yeah, but that never happens. Apparently now, if like the favorite content creator liked a movie that they are expected to not like for whatever reason, then apparently that everything that content creator has ever told them and said is a lie. And it's like, we're not supposed to have different thoughts anymore?
Right.
Like, what is going
Yeah.
on here?
I was reading a tweet earlier today from an author. His name's Devin Erickson, and he wrote a really fantastic book. If you're into sci-fi, you should pick it up. It's called Theft of Fire. Hi, Christine, if you somehow managed to find this. I guess she's his wife, and she managed one of his wives and manages to find just about every mention of him made ever. But it's a really good book. But he also writes these bomb-ass tweets where he just basically takes a philosophical concept or something and breaks it down in some of the best worded ways. And today he actually had a tweet where he was discussing individual agency. And he was discussing it in terms of education, but it really made me stop and think about the fact that I feel like today people have been robbed of their individual agency. They don't understand that they have the ability, the fundamental human drive, realistically, to go out and make something, to do something without somebody sitting on top of them and telling them to. And because so many people have had that quite literally beaten out of them by the school system, by their parents, by the government, they have humanity has reached this point where so many have this excess energy that would normally go into the pursuit of self-agency that they're becoming depressed, they're becoming manic, they're becoming all sorts of things because they don't have control over what they would normally do. They don't know what to do with that extra energy, and it causes them problems. And it's just it's a symptom. I mean, the creator thing, that wanting your favorite creator to feel the same way you do about everything is part of it. Because if your favorite creator, the person that you are at this point modeling yourself after because you don't have the self-agency to understand your own points of view, suddenly deviates from what you consider to be the plan, you don't know how to handle it because you don't know how to deal with your own self.
Or that person could basically not be confident in their own opinions enough to basically talk about them or voice them in a meaningful way. Because I think that's what it boils down to. Some people are just not confident enough in how they talk about a situation or how they can voice their opinions to the point where they're like, you know what, I just accept this person's opinion. Because, you talk to some people and they don't do this like we do, so they don't know how to voice their concerns and problems with something in a more of a direct conversation like this, or just in a fluid way. So they're speaking like such weird word salad nonsense, and people are like, wait, what? This guy dumb? Like, what the fuck? Did he have a stroke?
Well, it doesn't help a lot of times that they're not actually voicing their own feelings. They're voicing the words of somebody else entirely, and they don't know how to reword them into context that into the context that they're currently speaking. So they're literally parroting somebody, and it sounds off in the moment of the conversation, and that does make everybody look at you and go, what?
Yeah. Like, you'll have people saying like and they'll put those buzz terms in there too, like bigot and transphobe and all that other stuff. And it's like, what does that have to do with like anything we're talking about as far as a fucking video game? Because like, you can tell so many people that these companies have hired do not like gamers at all. Like, why are we hiring people that don't like that doesn't make any sense. You're hiring people that don't like gamers to produce video games for an audience they clearly don't like.
Well, worse, why are they becoming video game developers if they don't like gamers? Why would you want to? Because I said this in an earlier video. When you work in a service industry, which the video games industry is, it is a service industry. It does create a product, but the product is something that is in service of other people. You have to give people something that they want to buy. If you are going to work for people that you don't like, why are you working? You're muted.
Oh, sorry. My wife was trying to sleep with me right now. Get out of here. Wait, that's my pillow. Is the woke in the room with me? Yeah, that's another thing too. Is that like everyone just like saw the girl in the Ghost of Yotei fucking trailer and they're like woke, and it's like, whoa. I don't, that's why I don't really ever even say that word though. I only use it. I only use it in video titles because people just apparently click on videos more if they have the word woke in it. I don't know, but it's, I guess.
I actually avoid using the word woke in my titles specifically because then I find my comments are more filled with people who don't even watch the videos, and instead of just making comments, and I'm like, this makes no sense. You obviously didn't watch the video. Why are you even here?
Like, you have people now where they're like, it's always DEI, and I'm not saying that those aren't a factor to the reason why things aren't as good. Like, they definitely
Right.
do have their place, but I feel like it's become like this term like grifter, where
Mhm.
people just say, well, you make content that is popping off in the algorithm and you're appealing to those people, and that means you're grifting them.
Yeah.
So you mean
Yeah.
like the news or every single famous person ever? Like, what are you talking about? You sound like a weirdo. You sound like a moron. That's not even
Yeah.
grifting. That's just called, I will say, you got cloud chasing. You call it just like the flavor of the week, the news of the week. How is someone grifting by making videos that people watch?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so last week I had a series of videos, 4 videos actually do really, really well for my channel. It was freaking me out. Not even kidding. It
Can I
was
get some
freaks me
clout
out.
from you? Can you just give me some free clout, please?
I can try, but I can't make any promises. Uh, and I had people in the comments of those videos, so I knew I'm one of those people. I can only stick on a topic for so long before I have to move on. And
Oh yeah.
making 4 videos on the same topic was kind of like big for me. It's like, I kind of feel like I'm sticking with this too long. I think I need to move on. So I get to the end of the 4th video and I say, okay, this is going to be the last video about this. Yeah, there's more information out there, but I really feel like I've covered the majority of it now. And I feel like it's time to move on. If something else big develops, I'll revisit it then. And I got people in my comments saying, oh no, you just love all the views. You're just going to keep going on this. I expect to see video number 5. And I'm like, you really don't know me, sir.
Well, but that would be the thing too. Even if you did, they're gonna still watch the video. Like,
Yeah.
I love how people say you're gonna keep making the same video, and that yet that person watches said video whenever it's up, and even
Yeah.
comments on it, even likes it. It's like, you don't even believe in what the fuck you're saying. I hate fake people. I truly do.
You're just
I
in here
hate
throwing words at me. Why?
it. Stop being mean to me. I'm fragile. I don't get it. Like, the audience will say, I don't like drama content. Meanwhile, that's the highest view thing ever.
Oh my God. I hate people who come into my comments and say, why don't you ever do anything positive? And I'm like, okay, go look at the positive videos I've done and look at how many views they have. If you
Well,
want me
yeah,
to do more positive content, you go watch those positive videos. I mean, honestly, I'm still going to do positive content occasionally anyway, because being negative all the time is just a serious drain on life. But
yeah, that's the thing
I
too.
do it with
Yeah.
the understanding that that video, I'll be lucky if it gets 100 views.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is like, people say do more positive content. So that's the thing is, that person who says that doesn't watch, and then what does the person classify as positive content? Like,
Right.
faking that you think a situation is good when you clearly know it's a red flag and it's a train crash. Like, no,
Right.
I can't do that. I can't fake that a situation that I know might go south good to save your feelings, when I've seen these patterns happen in every single company that we've been following. I
Mhm.
like, if I made certain videos for people, I wouldn't just like lie to a person like that.
Yep.
All black guys getting arrested. Awesome.
Cool.
Something about
It's
a black
just
guy getting arrested by a white guy just does it for me. I don't know. Might be going to hell. But I
probably.
don't get it. Like, why do people just want you to fake positivity just to save your
Um,
feelings? And it's like, I'm not doing that. I would never do that.
it comes back to a term that we're hearing a lot right now. It's toxic positivity. The fact is right now, to say anything negative, to give any genuine criticism that might make somebody actually enact a change of some kind,
Mhm.
is considered harmful, and you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't tell people where they can improve things.
Yeah. Go to your rest. I think Star Wars Theory had a video like that, where he was going over that guy Paul Tassie's terrible articles about Star
Oh
Wars
God, yeah.
and bullshit. And he was like, it's an example, like, go to a restaurant, they give you some shit food and don't say anything.
Right.
But the thing is, what Star Wars Theory forgot in that video, his analogy isn't wrong. What he should have added to it was, people do that. They don't do it at the restaurant. They do it online after they leave the
Mhm.
restaurant. It's like, but that's essentially the same thing, where it's like, why not just basically voice your concerns? And if this
Right.
company sees them, it do like you said before, it's not really going to change anything. But another audience member, it's like, but I'm okay with that. If I don't like a game, I'm just not going to play it. Well, good for you. I don't care what the fuck you're doing. I don't know you from a hole on the wall. What
Yep.
the fuck?
Why are you telling me what you feel? I didn't ask.
Yeah, that's another thing too. They'll be like, well, when I watch a TV show and it's bad, I don't talk about it. Cool. I don't even know
Mhm.
you. I didn't ask your opinion. I don't give a fuck, honestly.
Okay. I mean, sure. But you know what? I wanted to talk about it. What are you going to do? Come over here and stop me?
Oh God. Well, my wife said that last night, and we're gonna bang a bunch of hot banging sex. Honestly,
Okay. Are we talking about your pillow again?
maybe. Honestly, my pillow loves me. Stop it. And pillows can consent. I'm not diddying my pillow. God damn,
Okay.
man.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Oh, so the last thing we'll go over is the whole toxic fandom, and it's always that darn toxic fandom.
And the way they're toxic is that they just don't buy the stuff and shut up and consume it.
I think the only thing that I would say is toxic is like if a random person went out of the way to not like complain about the product is if like they make death threats to like executives and random people. Like, okay, don't make death threats. That's not gonna do anybody any good. But like
Well,
most of the time, it's not
toxic
even
fandom.
death
That's just
threats.
toxic behavior, period. I don't care
Yeah,
what you're. I mean, I think that's something about the word toxic that doesn't get enough attention is that toxic behavior is toxic behavior. It doesn't matter what the context around it is. You know, it doesn't matter if it's fandom. It doesn't matter if it's because you're a man. It doesn't matter if it's because you're a woman. It doesn't matter if you're an educator. If you're displaying toxic behavior, it's because you're being a toxic person. If it
yeah,
happens to be in a fandom sense, then obviously, yeah, you're a piece of shit. But you're a piece of shit not because you're in the fandom, but because you're a toxic piece of shit.
yeah. And then for some reason they apply that to like everyone, and it's like I don't think someone's toxic making videos on YouTube or talking about a product they didn't like from a company. I don't think that's toxic. The only thing
No,
I would
it's
only
not.
classify as a bad behavior is like sending death threats, like the people are doing the Star Wars theory. Like that's bad. Like don't do
That
that.
is, yeah. Well,
But
and
I
I
but
do
I but I
think,
wouldn't allow that for either side. You know, I don't care
right,
if I don't
nobody
like
should do
you.
that to anybody.
Yeah.
But I do think some things like there are smaller groups out there who will say things like, you know, if a content creator makes a product, a smaller content creator makes a
Mhm.
product they don't like and they put it on like a Kickstarter or something, people will say, "Oh no, you go report that so that that can get it taken down." That's toxic behavior.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
That's such like snitch bitch made behaviors. You go, oh, I'm gonna go tell on you. Like what?
Yeah,
That's so gay, man. I hate that.
it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, like I don't like this person's opinions. I'm gonna go snitch on them.
I'm gonna go tell this person some lies and make their stuff go away because I don't know how to handle my emotions.
Something like a. I guarantee you, there are a bunch of black girls. Shanique was actually. Well, last few things I'll ask you. First thing is, do you have anything planned coming up in 2024, going into 2025? Which you want to let the audience know about?
Not specifically at this point. Most exciting thing I have going on right now is I'm going to have a video coming out tomorrow morning, and I'm going to stream on my Abysmal Critic channel on Thursday. That's really all I got.
Awesome. And the last thing I'll ask you is, do you have any shout outs you want to give to anyone in particular and any closing thoughts or statements you want to go over before the end of the show?
Do I have any shout outs for anybody in particular?
Besides my dad.
Shout out to your dad.
Yeah, damn it.
Shout out to my mom.
Mm,
Shout out to Sheep.
he's black.
Yes. That's all I got. I really didn't come with a list of people to talk about, unfortunately.
Dang it.
I'll try to remember that for next time.
I'm gonna do an MSK cast, do an 8-hour trash cast on you, going over all
Damn
your
it.
content.
Ah.
Gonna EFAP everything. God.
Oh God, I won't be there for that. You have fun.
I'm gonna call
I don't
myself
even like editing my shit. I'm not gonna watch it again. Fuck.
I'm gonna call myself Creepy Van Driver.
Oh God.
That's my channel name now.
Oh my God, that would be hilarious. I'm not even gonna lie. That I would love to see
I'm
someone
gonna put on
do
a
that.
bat suit, wear sunglasses, and call myself Creepy Van Driver with a hat that says Ass Gate, and then just God, I should really do this parody. That's what it'll be for Halloween. I'm gonna be
There you
evil
go.
for Halloween.
There you go.
Imagine that a black guy wants to be a white guy for Halloween.
You're gonna do some white face. What the
Oh
fuck?
God.
Just
Well,
call you Eddie
I was
Murphy.
glad. Was Ben Stiller? He was like, they asked him about fucking Tropical Thunder and everything. He was like, "Nah, we like what we did." I like
Yeah.
it.
There was no reason to be ashamed of that. It was a good movie.
Well, everyone, thank you guys for checking out this episode of the MSK Show. It's great talking to Amorata once again. Hope you guys had a great day. Hope you guys had a great weekend. And we will see you guys in the next one. See you guys later, everyone. Deuces.